Hi, I'm here to talk about the books I read this month. You can probably tell it's humid by my hair, but that's what it is. Hopefully it's not. Hopefully it's in the frame. I guess maybe I'll go in like reverse order of what I read. So first I read The Monk. Hold up. Okay. First I read The Monk. I guess I was attracted to it because of the name and the cover art. I made a whole video on this, I guess, if you wanted to hear deeper thoughts about it, but it was like an entertaining story of lust and religion. I guess it's gothic horror. And yeah, I don't know, I found it entertaining. There's a huge chunk where the author just goes off the rails and tells a totally different story, which was kind of annoying to trudge through, but beyond that, the story of the monk and his mistresses, or whatever you want to call them, was entertaining. So yeah, I mean, I guess pretty deep book, but more entertainment value looking back on it. What did I read next? I don't know. Forget the order. I started reading The Gay Science. I think I'm on book 3. I think the amount of, that's not even gonna work. The amount of tabs, I think, should tell you how I feel about the book. This book is written in aphorisms, and so they're pretty digestible. I think for the first 2 or 3 aphorisms, I would like go on Google and make sure I had gotten everything out of the aphorism, but there's like maybe 385 of them, so I kind of stopped doing that and would just take what I could get as I read it. I mean, I guess he's known for turning philosophy on its head, but this book I think is known as his accessible work and a pretty holistic overview of the many things that he goes into in the future or in his other writings. So yeah, it feels like it was like taking a breath of fresh air, or like eating a mint, or drinking cold water after eating a mint. It was just refreshing, but kind of painful in a way. You know what I'm saying? When you drink water. And then I read, okay, I got this, like all my books are used, but this one had the biggest sticker on the front, and I tried to take it off, and look at that. That should be a felony. Why put a sticker on a book that comes off like that? Anyways, A Girl's Story by Erno, my first Erno. I really enjoyed it. The whole book is about when she was, I think, 18 in 1958. She spent 6 weeks at a summer camp, and she kind of recalls that summer. And she speaks about herself in the third person, which I thought was genius, because that is how it feels to recall memories from a long time ago. You kind of feel like you aren't yourself. But she does a very good job at capturing the like dreamlike aspects of memory. I think towards the end she says, it might actually be the last sentence. I wouldn't call this a spoiler. This was from one of her journals. A note of intent. Explore the gulf between the stupefying reality of things that happen at the moment they happen, and, years later, the strange unreality in which the things that happened are enveloped. That's exactly how memory feels. I'm always thinking about memory. And this was very good. So if you watch my last video about the book haul, I ended up getting 2 or 3 of her books at this book sale. And then I read A Month in the Country by Carr. It was pretty good. It was another kind of like entertaining one. It's supposed to be philosophical, and it looks at this dude who spent a month in the country in this, what is it, Oxgoodby? Oxgoodby? I don't know how you say it. Yeah, and he's repairing this mural, or uncovering this mural in a church. And he was a World War I veteran, and there's kind of like a love interest. I enjoyed it. It was a pretty peaceful book. It kind of creates like a sense of longing, like this time slipping away that there's nothing you can do about it getting past you. Yeah, I guess on the back it calls it haunting, which I would agree. It is haunting in the fact that it's time, this beautiful time slipping away from you. But it also kind of read like a slice of life. Like the plot wasn't too harsh or too significant. It was a very subtle book. So yeah, I'd enjoy it. I enjoyed it. I don't know, like I'd give it like 3 stars or something. And then I read I Who Have Never Known Men. I think in my past like 3 videos I've said the title wrong, but this time I've said it right. I don't remember, this was another book that I saw somebody on YouTube reading and I was like, that sounds interesting. So I read it. What happens? Oh yeah, so it reminded me of The Road. If you read The Road by Cormac McCarthy, in that if I could describe it in one word, it would probably be bleak. Like the outlook is not very good. These women are underground in a cage. And the men are outside, like kind of patrolling, and they're kept to very strict laws. And yeah, it's pretty gruesome. Not as bad as The Road, but I enjoyed it. This one, yeah, I mean, they're both really short. I probably enjoyed this more than A Month in the Country. The way that it deals with loss reminds me of, it's something I think about often, being the youngest sibling, that one day you'll be the last sibling left. And this book deals with that, so I was attracted to that aspect of it. Okay, and then the book club book was The Emperor's Soul by Brandon Sanderson. I've read fantasy in the past, not like a ton of fantasy, but a good amount, I guess, especially when I was younger, and I had a lot of gripes with this book. I'm not sure how it won the Hugo Award. I'm sorry if that upsets anybody. He does a lot of what do people say? Telling and not showing. So he uses a lot of adverbs instead of getting you to understand how the character feels by their actions. It's a young adult novel, so the ideas were sometimes elementary and they were sometimes shoved down your throat, just like one paragraph's about the story and then the next paragraph he'll be like, love is the most important thing type vibe. What else did I write? Since it was book club, I wrote my thoughts in the back because I knew I'd forget about it. I thought it would be better in first person, or I guess I haven't even said what the book is about, which is important. This lady, maybe I didn't say what any of these books are about. This lady is a soul something, an imitator or whatever, and the emperor of this kingdom, there's an assassination attempt against him, and he's basically brain dead. So this technically criminal lady has to build the emperor a new soul. So that's what the book is about. And she needs to get to know the emperor to be able to make him a new soul. But she's also like a fugitive the whole time. And I thought it would be better done in first person, because then you'd get to know the main character, Shy, a bit better. Yeah, and I understand why someone would want to read this book in the same way that you'd watch like reality television or something. Like, it's just a simple pretty brainless thing. But when I read, I guess, I don't know, this is pretentious, I guess. I want to be like challenged while I'm reading. So I will read some simple things, maybe. But this was just like too simple. And it seems the magic system was really good. And I know Brandon Sanderson is known for his magic system. But the issue is that he doesn't seem well equipped enough in like psychology to really make a character feel three-dimensional and make the soul aspect interesting. Like maybe if I could describe this book in one word, it would be two-dimensional. I guess that's hyphenated, but anyways. Yeah, I really blabbered about that one. And then I read Bullshit Jobs by David Graeber. I don't know where to start with this one. He posits that many jobs are useless, and his definition of a bullshit job is basically if the job is so useless that even the person who is working, the employee, can't justify the need for their job to exist. And he goes into how basically everything has become administrative. Wait, let me find this. There's a good quote. Okay, I don't know. This is a long quote, so I won't read the whole thing, but we keep inventing jobs because of this false idea that everybody has to be employed at some kind of drudgery because, according to Malthusian Darwinian theory, he must justify his right to exist. So we have inspectors of inspectors and people making instruments for inspectors to inspect inspectors. The true business of people should be to go back to school and think about whatever it was they were thinking about before somebody came along and told them they had to earn a living. Yeah. So basically in the 20s, all these scientists theorized that in a couple decades, the work week would be 10 or 20 hours long as technological improvements kept happening. And that ended up not being the case because it benefits the wealthiest people for jobs to keep being created and for us to work 40 hours a week. So yeah, it was very interesting, and I've worked at a bullshit job, so I can understand what he's talking about. But the only policy change he calls for is universal basic income, which I agree with. He gave a reason for not wanting to suggest more policies, but I think that they're, given the platform and given how much basically exposition he had relative to the policy he wanted to suggest, he could have suggested more like free healthcare and whatnot. But yeah, I'd recommend this book. So those are all the books I have read. I'd say I'd recommend all of them. I wouldn't recommend this one so much. And then, I don't know, A Month in the Country, people might find it like beautiful, but this would probably go, I don't know, this wouldn't be the first one that I recommend. That might piss people off. It was still good. If I had to pick a favorite one, I'm going to take out, man, I'm making all these parameters. I'm taking out the gay science because I haven't finished it, which leaves these four. I'd recommend all four of them, but the one that spoke to me the most was probably Erno. She has such a vivid way of writing that I really enjoy. Yeah, so I'm a bit late. I was watching those cats, but I'm back at home now, I guess. Yep. Okay. See you whenever I make my next video.